All the adjectives have three levels or degrees or stages of comparison. All the adjectives have three levels or degrees or stages of comparison. Number one, positive degree comparison. Two, comparative degree comparison. And third, superlative degree comparison. Superlative degree comparison. It is very important to know that how it has to be changed into comparative as well as superlative. The adjectives or adverbs. What is an adjective? Adjective is a word which qualifies a noun. It tells or it talks about the quality, it talks about the size, color, number and quantity of nouns. Here, if the adjective or adverb has one syllable, generally for comparative we add er, and for superlative we add est. I repeat once again, for comparative we add er and for superlative est. But it doesn't mean that if there are two syllables we must not add. Some two syllables adjectives or adverbs can also be changed into comparative or superlative by adding er and est. For example, I have taken some examples. For example, you take small. Here, smaller, smallest. Another, sweet, sweeter, sweetest. Tall, taller, tallest. Young, younger, youngest. And high, higher, highest. I will try to tell you that how many types to change comparative and superlative we do have. Another 5 examples. Strong, stronger, strongest. Next, bright, brighter, brightest. After that, the dark, darker, darkest. Next, kind, kinder, kindest. After that, clever, cleverer, cleverest. An adjective of a positive degree which ends with y, then the comparative will take IER and superlative will take IEST. I repeat once again, an adjective of a positive degree which ends with consonant y to change into comparative or superlative, it will take IER and IEST. For example, happy. First one, happy. Comparative, happier, happiest. Another one, silly. SILLY, sillier, silliest. Pretty, PRETTY. Again, prettier, prettiest. Another one, for you, easy, easier, and easiest. Wealthy, 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 wealthier, wealthiest. Another example, heavy, heavier, heaviest. These are some of the examples right now. Third point, how to make an adverb which ends with ly. An adverb which ends with ly in comparative it takes more, and in superlative it takes most. I repeat once again, an adverb which ends with ly in comparative takes more to become comparative, as well as in superlative it takes most. Example, swiftly, In comparative, more swiftly. Superlative, most swiftly. Beautifully, more beautifully, most beautifully. Another example, skillfully in positive. Comparative, more skillfully. Superlative, most skillfully. In positive, wisely. Comparative, more wisely, most wisely. Another example, that's all. I have given these examples, please write down. Next, fourth point. An adjective with one syllable, and if it ends with consonant, and before that if there is a vowel or vowel, we call it, then in comparative and superlative it takes er and est, but the end consonant has to be doubled in comparative as well as superlative. For example, red, redder, reddest. Here at the end we do have the consonant, before that there is a vowel or vowel, which when it comes to comparative I have doubled. Here also in superlative it is double. In the same way we do have bigger, big, bigger, biggest. We do have hot, hotter, hottest. Next, fat, fatter, fattest. Next, sad, sadder, saddest in superlative. This one is thin, thinner, thinnest. So what you observe, that at the end of the adjective, if there is a consonant and before that there is a vowel, the end of the consonant is doubled in comparative and superlative, and er is added to form comparative, and est is added to form superlative. An adjective which has 3 syllables or more than 3 syllables, in comparative it takes more, and in superlative it takes most. Or we can say long adjectives. For example, beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Next we do have dangerous, more dangerous, most dangerous. Next we do have proper, more proper, most proper. Next we do have intelligence, more intelligence, most intelligence. For 2 syllable words also it is applicable. Some adjectives and adverbs in positive degree, when it is changed into comparative and superlative, it takes new words. And the students who are learners, it is very important to learn the 3 forms of this type. For example, you see this, good. Actually, generally we can say gooder, but it is not correct, it is wrong. So good, better, best. Another example, bad, comparative worst, superlative worst. Much or many, in comparative it becomes more, in superlative most. Another example, little, in comparative it becomes less, and in superlative least. Old in positive, comparative older or elder we can write. In superlative it becomes older and eldest. Far, in comparative it becomes farther, further, or in superlative farther, farthest, and furthest. Right now. 7th point. There are some adverbs and some adjectives in positive degree cannot be changed into comparative and superlative. You see these examples. It cannot be changed into comparative and superlative. Now, then, where, once, there, there, then here, circular, round, square, and we do have right, and wrong, etc. So these are the examples which doesn't have comparative as well as superlative. There are some Latin words which are comparative words. Nearly we do have 12 like that has been taken from Latin, which cannot be changed into positive and superlative. Mind you, these words end with or. These words end with or. For example, you see the examples I have given, the 12 words which it doesn't has positive and superlative forms. Interior, exterior, ulterior, major, minor, inferior, superior, prior, 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 anterior, anterior, then after that posterior, after that you do have senior, junior, etc. This point is a reference to the previous point which I have told you, the 12 words. I have given you the 12 words which are said to be comparative. But the first 5 nowadays is used as positive degrees. Okay, you see the examples, I will go through that. It is a major operation, major word here, major operation. It is a matter of minor importance, minor. The interior wall of this house is made of wood. Another example, interior, another exterior. The exterior wall of this house is made of brick. Another last example, he had ulterior motive in helping her. He had ulterior motive in helping her. You see the words, what are the words? Major, minor, interior, exterior and ulterior. These 5 words are used as positive degree. Another, the remaining 7. The remaining 7 is used as comparative. I will tell that example. I have given you 12 words. The first 5 one I told you, though it is comparative, it is used as positive. The remaining 7 is used as comparative, where actually it has to take than, THAN, but here it takes to, TO2. I am showing you the example. Ramya is inferior to Geeta in duty. Actually it has to take that, but according to the rule it has to take to. This J is superior to that. Another example, the event took place prior to that accident. Fourth example, he is senior to me. All her colleagues are junior to her. You have to keep it in mind that here the remaining 7, it never takes then, it takes 2, TO2. Right. I told you how you have to change from positive to comparative, comparative to superlative. Adjectives. Now we will try to learn the interchange of positive to comparative, comparative to positive, and from superlative to comparative, comparative to positive. Broadly speaking, the interchange of degrees of comparison, there are 4 types. Now we shall try to learn one by one. What is a positive degree of comparison? In a positive degree, we use the state or the existence of the quality of a person or thing. Here we use the base form of the adjective, as well as we use as, and so as. For example, you see this, Rita is as fair as Usha. I have used as, or we can use so as. We can use so as. I have used the basic or the base form of the adjective. Now we will try to know what is comparative degree. In comparative degree of comparison, we compare two things or two persons who are unequal. But what we use in the adjective is we add er. For example, you see this. Today is brighter than yesterday. Here I have used er in comparative degree. Immediately after that I have used than, than. So in comparative degree we compare two persons or things who are unequal. Note, in comparative degree of comparison, for long adjectives we have to use more. For example, beautiful. We say in positive beautiful, in comparative it will become more beautiful. Now coming to superlative degree of comparison. Superlative degree of comparison expresses the highest or the lowest qualities that exist in a person or thing. You have to note that the adjective is added with est and before that the is placed. For example, this is the best school in our town. And for long adjectives we use most. For example, just now I have referred the example beautiful. In comparative it becomes more beautiful. In superlative it becomes most beautiful. Now we shall try to learn the interchange of degrees of comparison from positive to comparative, comparative to positive, and from superlative to comparative and comparative to positive. Totally there are 4. First we shall try to learn the type 1. Now I have taken type 1 from what we do is we shall try to change from positive to comparative. You see this, he is as good as Ravi. The first sentence is he is as good as Ravi. Because as is there and the base form of the adjective is there, so it's a positive degree. We have to change into comparative degree. Ravi is not better than he. What I have done, what you have to do when you have to change from positive to comparative. So I have given this example, you observe this. When you are changing into comparative, you have to take out as and so as. When it is in the positive, as, or so as we have to take out in comparative. And secondly, what we have to do is you have to change the comparative, that is the adjective. In comparative, good is changed into better. After that, immediately you have to add than, than. And what you have to observe is if the positive is in affirmative, comparative becomes negative. Here you see Ravi is not. When the positive is in negative, in comparative it becomes affirmative. Mind you, I repeat once again. When the positive degree is in affirmative, the comparative becomes negative. Whereas when the positive is in negative sentence, the comparative in comparative becomes affirmative. Last, you have to exchange this what you call persons or things what we are comparing. Here it is exchanged, the last comes in the first and the first goes to the last. So another example you see here, I am as tall as you. You change this, you comes here because you always takes plural, we have to add R. Comparative, because it is an affirmative sentence, we have to use negative in comparative. So you are not The adjective tall, comparative, in comparative it is a taller. Immediately you have to add than. Then the first one goes to the last. You are not taller than I. You are not taller than I. Right. I have taken another two examples here, which the sentences here are in negative. See this. This is in positive degree because we do have as, and the base form of the adjective. He is not as good as Ram. He is not good as Ram. Now change that Ram, because it is in negative, we have to make it affirmative because it is singular. Ram is the comparative of good is better. Ram is better. After better we have to use than. After that this one comes in the last. Than he. Another example, I am not as tall as you. You see here, you get in the front, because it is in positive degree. To change into comparative, you comes in the first, because it takes plural. You are, because it is in simple present. You are negative, because this is in negative, we have to make it in affirmative. You are. After that the comparative of tall, taller. After taller, after comparative we have to use than, and this comes in the last. I. You are taller than I. Right. I have taken some more examples. Usha is as beautiful as Geeta. First, this sentence is in affirmative. We have to make it in negative in comparative. We have to remove as. We have to change beautiful in comparative, more beautiful. First we have to place this Geeta in the beginning of the sentence. After that is Geeta is. I told you we have to make it negative, not comparative of beautiful, more beautiful. After comparative we have to put than. The first one is placed in the last, Usha. You see here, Geeta is not more beautiful than Usha. What was that in the positive? Usha is as beautiful as Geeta. Another example, she is not so good as Meena. Now get this, Meena, because singular is. This is already in negative. We have to make it affirmative. Change the good into comparative. It becomes better. Meena is better. After comparative we have to use than. This goes in the last. Than she. She is not so good as Meena. We have placed Meena here. Singular is. The change, because I told you this is in negative, we have to make it affirmative. So we have not put not here. Meena is better than she. Now we are going into type 2, where in the first one we have changed from positive to comparative. Here we shall change from comparative to positive. What we have followed the rules in positive, in the same way there are some rules which we have to follow from comparative to superlative. You see here, you are duller than Rajesh. Now Rajesh is not as dull as you. What you have to do? When you are changing from comparative to positive, the adjective which is in comparative has to be changed into positive. So duller becomes dull. Next, the adjective which is changed has to be placed between as, or so as. Mind you, the positive, the adjective which is changed from comparative to positive has to be placed between as or so as in positive degree of comparison. Third, when the comparative is in negative, we have to change into affirmative. When the comparative is in affirmative, in positive we have to change into negative sentence. Next, the first part of the sentence goes to the last, and the last part of the sentence come in the beginning of the sentence. And another point you have to bear in mind is you have to skip than. When it is changed into positive, you have to skip than, or you must not write. Right? Okay, I have taken some more examples. You see the first one. You are not duller than Rajesh. Now you have to change into positive. Bring in the beginning Rajesh, because it is singular, is Rajesh's. Because this sentence which is in comparative is negative, we have to make it affirmative, so not is not necessary. We have to change duller, which is in comparative, into positive, so it becomes a dull. I told you it has to be placed between as and as, or so and as. So I told you it has to be placed before as and as. The changed adjective Rajesh is as dull as. This one comes in the last, you. So the answer is Rajesh is as dull as you. Another example, Sita is more intelligent than I. Sita is more intelligent than I. First thing is, it is in affirmative. We have to make in negative. First, this is transferred in the beginning of the sentence, I, because it is compared between Sita and I has to come in the beginning of the sentence. I, after I, we have to put am, the verb. Next, more intelligent becomes intelligent in positive, so we have to place as and as. Because it is in affirmative, we have to make it a negative. I am not as intelligent as Sita. I am not as intelligent as Sita. Another example, you see here, Rita is not more active than you. Now, first thing is that because it is a negative, here we get affirmative, and we have to change the adjective in comparative to positive. So first you get, because it is compared between Rita and you comes in the beginning of the sentence, you, because it takes plural are. Already it is in negative, we have to make it affirmative, so not is not necessary. I told you the changed adjective from comparative to positive has to be placed before as and so as. So you are as active as, this goes in the last, as Rita. So Rita is not more active than you. We have to skip than. So you are as active as Rita. Right. Some more examples so that you can understand better. Here is he is better than you. Now we have to change into positive. First thing is it is in affirmative. We have to make it negative in positive degree. Okay. You comes in the front. You, because it takes plural. You are. I told you better has to be changed into positive degree. It is in comparative degree. So it becomes good, which has to be placed between as and as, or so and as. So we will place as better when it is changed into positive, good as he. He is better than you. In positive, you are as good as he. We have skipped that. Another example, India is richer than Bhutan, because it is compared between India and Bhutan. Bhutan comes in the front. In comparative, Bhutan, same singular, is. It is in affirmative. It is comparative affirmative sentence. In positive it becomes negative. So Bhutan is not. The adjective which is in comparative, in positive it becomes rich. So which has to be placed between as and as rich as. This one goes in the last, India. India is richer than Bhutan. In positive degree, Bhutan is not as rich as India. I have skipped them, that you have to note. Next. Now we are going to type 3. After that we shall go into type 4. Type 3 and type 4, almost all it depends on the sentence which is in superlative. First of all, we will try to do type 3. You see here, lead is the heaviest of all metals. Lead is the heaviest of all metals. If lead is one of the heaviest of all metals, it changes in comparative as well as in positive. Here, when you are changing into comparative, there will be no change or interchange of anything. You have to keep it in intact. Lead is heavier than any other metal. Lead is heavier than any other metal, or it will take what we call lead is heavier than all other metal. Means it takes any other or all other. Whereas in positive, it takes no other in the beginning of the sentence, plus now in the singular number. Mind you, when we do have the in the superlative, when we are changing into positive, it takes no other plus now in the singular form. You see here, lead is the heaviest of all metals. Now I am changing into comparative. You have to keep intact this one. Lead is, this one is changed into comparative, heavier. Lead is heavier. We have to put than. I told you we can use any other or all other than any other metal, or lead is heavier than all other metal. Both are in comparative. Comparative degree of comparison. Now in positive, I told you we have to make it no other. We have to start with no other. When we do have the no other, we have to interchange no other metal is, we have to put the adjective form, base form of the adjective in between as and so and as the adjective of the base adjective of positive adjective of what we call heaviest is heavy, as lead. No other metal is as heavy as lead. We shall try other examples. Another examples. Type 3. Shakespeare is the greatest dramatist of the world. Shakespeare is the greatest dramatist of the world. Now we have to change into comparative. You keep it in that. Shakespeare is the comparative form of greatest is greater. After that we have to use than. I told you we can use any other or all other than any other dramatist in the world. Or we can write Shakespeare is greater than all other dramatists in the world. You can use any other or all other. Now come to the next example. Vijayawada is the best city in Andhra Pradesh. Now I'm sorry, we will try to convert it into positively. We have to start with no other. I told you no other. The last part, no other. The last part of this is dramatist of the world. Dramatist of the world. Dramatist of the world is the positive form of greatest is great, which we have to put between as and as great as Shakespeare. Another example, please. We are coming to that another one. Vijayawada is the best city in Andhra Pradesh. Now change into comparative. Keep it intact. Vijayawada. No interchange. Vijayawada is the best, because it is in comparative. We have to change into positive. Sorry, it is in superlative. We have to change into comparative, better. After comparative, we have to use than. I told you we can use any other or all other than any other city in Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh. Another example. Now we have to change into positive. We have to start with no other. No other. Last part we have to bring in the front. No other city in Andhra Pradesh. City in Andhra Pradesh. The positive form of best is good, which we have to put between as and as or so and as good as Vijayawada. Right. Now we are in type 4. You see this sentence which is in superlative. America is one of the richest countries of the world. Here it has taken one of the, when it takes one of the, how it changes into comparative as well as how it changes into positive degree, we shall try to learn. Now I am changing into comparative. Keep it intact. America is the comparative form of richest is richer. Richer. After that we have to put than. Here in the previous one, when it is the before superlative, we have put any other or all other. Here, if it is one of the, we have to place after that most other. Most other, the remaining part, countries of the world. You see here, America is one of the richest countries of the world. In comparative, America is richer than most other countries in the world. In type 3, what we have put here, we have placed here any other or all other. Now, in positive, very few, the last part, very few countries of the world is the positive degree of richest is rich, which has to be placed before as and as rich as America. You have to observe that in type 3 we have used no other. If the superlative is in the one of, if it is one of, then we have to use very few. Right. Now I have taken another two examples. Rohan is one of the best boys of my school. We shall try to change into comparative. Rohan, you have to keep it intact, is the comparative of best is better. After that than. Here, because in superlative we have one of the, you have to change into comparative. You have to place most other. Otherwise we used any other or all other. So here it takes most other boys of my school. Now we will change into positive. It starts with very few because the superlative has one of the very few boys, last part, boys of, very few boys of my school, very few boys of my school is the positive of best is good, which has to be placed before as and as, or so and as good as Rohan. Another example, Akbar is one of the greatest empire of India. You see here, Akbar is one of the greatest empire of India. Now changing to comparative. Akbar is greatest, comparative, greater. After that than. I told you most other. Akbar is greater than most other emperors of India. Akbar is greater than most other emperors of India. Now positive, I told you we have to start with very few. Last part, emperors of India. is the positive of greatest grade, which we have to put between as and as, or so and as great as Akbar. So I try to complete many examples so that you can face competitive exams better. We shall meet in the next video. Until then,